Iraq is located in the Middle East, and its territory has about 438,446 square kilometers. In the center of the country, there is a great capital of Harun al-Rashid, Baghdad. To the north, Iraq is bordered by Turkey, to the west by Syria and Jordan, to the south by Saudi Arabia, Kuwait and the Persian Gulf, and to the east by Iran. Due to its geographical position, the country has always been highly coveted because it is a bridge between the European, Asian and African continents, as well as between the Indian Ocean and the Mediterranean. It is known as the country of the two rivers, biladalrafidain, and has a civilizational history that dates back at least 7,000 years ago, a history that testifies to its immense grandeur. It was also in Iraq that the trade caravans met, and it was through the Iraqi territory that the trade routes were made. Their national language is Arabic. The two great rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates, which run through Iraq from north to south, rise in the mountains of Armenia and Anatolia, having many tributaries, which increases the country's wealth in terms of its water reserves. The rivers join to the south and form the Shatt al-Arab, which flows through the province of Basra and then flows into the Arabian Gulf. Up to the date of the invasion in 2003, in Iraq there were some minorities with all national and cultural rights, protected by law, free to practice their own religion and whose parties were officially recognized. Iraq has a very rich history, with about 10,000 archaeological sites on its territory, where the traces of older civilizations can still be seen up to a period of 100,000 years. About 8,000 years ago, during the Neolithic period, man has learned how to plow the land, raise animals, build houses, weave, make ceramics and artistic objects, painted or sculpted. The city of Jarmo, located in Iraq Kurdistan, was one of the first man-made cities. In Dabaghia, near Hatra, paintings over 8,000 years old have been found. In southern Iraq, the Al-Bayt civilization flourished about 6,000 years ago and extended beyond the Arabian Peninsula and Iran. In the middle of the Warsaw era, 5,200 years ago, writing in iconography form was invented, which would later give rise to the cuneiform writing. The period from 4800 to 4350 BC is known as the Dynastic Dawn. The discoveries made at the Royal Cemetery of Ur gave us an idea of the high level of development of their art in the 3rd millennium BC. The Akkadian dynasty unified the country through a central authority that established the first empires of known history. In addition to Iraq, the Akkadian Empire also included Syria, Anatolia and Iran. About 100 years later, there was a setback due to the invasion of barbarians from the north that came in from Iran. But the Sumerian princes managed to revive the local culture. When the 3rd dynasty of Ur was established and its kings, mainly Ur-Nammu and Shulgi, valued extraordinarily the literature and the arts, leaving a rich inheritance in bronze figures. The Babylonian period continued the cultural enrichment, giving great importance to architecture and sculpture, but mainly to literature and sciences. The Babylonians formulated mathematical and geometric theories that were later attributed to Euclid and Pythagoras. They used algebraic formulas of the 1st and 2nd degrees and created the basis for logarithms. Despite this, the laws of the Hammurabi Code are more commonly known. The Assyrians, concentrated in the north, spoke the same language as the Akkadians and the Babylonians, and also used the same cuneiform script. They were excellent regarding construction and political organization. The Assyrians founded the greatest empires of their time and built large cities like Assur, Nineveh, Nimrod, and Urshapkin. The Assyrian imperial period was followed by the Neo-Babylonian period. Nebuchadnezzar II was its most remarkable king. He developed architecture and art and was a master of a remarkable political skill, putting an end to all revolts in his immense empire that included Syria and Palestine. After the fall of Babylon, the territory was dominated by foreigners, who benefited greatly from its cultural heritage. Babylonians and Assyrians created countless masterpieces in Susa, Persepolis, and Barzagao. The Greeks benefited from the Babylonian heritage, mainly regarding mathematics, astronomy, medicine, geometry, and literature. About 2000 years ago, the Arabs made their architectural and artistic contribution in various places in the north, in Syria, Jordan, and southern Anatolia. Their statues and metallurgical works can be seen partially in Hatra, where they sculpted works of great beauty. Before its disappearance in 241 AD, the culture of Hatra was linked to the Arab culture of Hira in central Iraq. Hira's cultural influence remained until Muslims conquered Iraq in 632 AD. The advent of Islam caused a major revolution in many parts of the world. The inhabitants of Iraq accepted Islam and built a great civilization that started after the Prophet's Hijrah throughout the Umayyad period and in the Abbasid period. In the time of Omar, the second caliph after the Prophet, cities like Kufa and Basra were built, and in the time of the Abbasid Caliph Abu Ja'far al-Mansur, Baghdad was built in 762. 74 years later, Samarra was erected by al-Mutassim to replace Baghdad as capital. In the year 892, the headquarters of the Caliphate returned to Baghdad, which was the center of the government until it fell to the hands of the Mongols in 1258. The Abbasid period was a period of great development and wealth. Teaching and creativity were sponsored and encouraged by the caliphs themselves. Their knowledge of medicine, chemistry, geometry, mathematics, astronomy, and Arabic poetry were the most developed and the largest in the world. Darkness fell on this country after 1258, when Hulagu, the grandson of Genghis Khan, left behind a trail of horror and destruction. In the 16th century, Ottoman Turks ruled Iraq until 1917. Then, Iraq fell into the hands of the British, who ruled it under the so-called British Mandate. It finally achieved its political independence in 1932, but lost it again in 2003, with the invasion of the USA and its allies. The people of Iraq are once again fighting for it to this day.